get like a whole toolbox.
All right.
Make some cool stuff.
350 over x plus 350 over x plus 25 equals 16. Okay?
Oh, I know what you have to do.
What do you have to do?
You have to add 25 to the top and the bottom of the other side.
Not quite. But you do have to multiply both sides by the LCD. So what? Anybody know what LCD stands for?
Lowest common factor. Isn't that like a drug?
Not lowest common factor.
Did I get it though?
LCD is the least common denominator. So write that on the left side of your paper. All right, in this case, can we combine these two fractions right here?
No. They don't have the same
They don't have the same what?
denominator.
They don't have the same denominator, okay? So we have to multiply both sides by the least common denominator. Well, in this case, since we have two different denominators on two different fractions, we have to use both of them, okay? So what we're going to do first is we're going to say x times x plus 25, and I'm going to use a bracket. Do I multiply that by one side or on both sides?
One side.
Yes.
What does it tell us to do? Multiply
Both
both sides. So both sides of the equal sign. So I'm using both denominators on both sides of my equation. Okay? Now, does that x times x plus 25 go to everything in the brackets?
No, wait, say that one more time.
This right here. X times x plus 25. It goes to everything in the bracket.
Right.
Okay? So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to split it up. I'm going to break it up. So, I'm going to write in the third box, distribute and simplify. X times x plus 25 times 350 over x. So, there's the first set. And since it goes to both, I'm gonna multiply it on the other one too. No, I'm not doing the right side just yet. I'm just working on the left side.
So that'd be x squared plus 25x.
You can do that, but I'm gonna show you how to do it. Make it easier. All right. So last week, when we did rational expressions, what was the last step every time?
Cross out.
I didn't listen last
We
week.
cross out the common factors. Okay. So if I squish these together, meaning everything on the top goes on the top and everything on the bottom's on the bottom. What is on the top and bottom that I can cross out?
X.
Can cross out the x. So go ahead and cross out your x. If I do the same thing for the second part, what's common on the top and bottom?
X.
Not x. X plus 25.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
There's one out here on the top, and there's one right here on the bottom. Okay? So now, we go back to the first part of the equation, and we are left with x plus 25 times 350 plus x times 350.
We could have well, we can make that 350x.
We can do that. But, okay, let's do this. Let's do 16 times x plus 25, because we have to do the right side. Okay? Does everybody have this right now? I'm going to have to go to another page. No? Alright, so now we have to simplify. So I'm going to multiply x times 350, and I'm going to get 350x, and then 25 times 350.
25 times 350 is a big number.
8750 plus x times 350, which is 350x, equals 16 times, I'm going to work the parentheses. So an x times an x is x squared, and an x times 25 is,
25.
now, whoops, I want to combine the left side. What is, forgot to keep my x, 350x and 350x. 700x plus 8750 equals 16 times x squared is 16x squared, and 16 times 25x is a positive.
Oh,
What's 16 times 25? You all have a calculator in front of your face. 400x. Now, I want everything to be on the right side of the equal sign. So what should I,
you mean right?
on the right, because I want to keep this 16 positive.
That'd be minus 700x.
Minus 700x.
So that would be negative 2 or 300x.
Why am I paying
Minus 300x.
What I do with the positive 8750?
Subtract it. That's the answer right now.
So go ahead and write what I just boxed down on number 5. Number 5 says choose a strategy for solving the quadratic equation you wrote in question 4. Then solve the equation. Okay, so we have to solve. So we have to solve for x. So, $16x squared, 300x minus 8750. All right, when you are doing quadratic equations, you can do the big X. You can do the quadratic formula that you all love, or you can graph it and find where it crosses what axis?
X.
The x-axis.
Big X.
All right, if we do the big X, B goes in the bottom, so I have a negative 300 and A times C up top. So I have 16 times negative 87.
Oh,
50.
I've been doing that big X or bad wrong all last week.
You mean to tell me you gave me the wrong answers?
So we're going to have to do the quadratic, boys, zip it. We're going to have to do the quadratic formula because those numbers are way too big. Okay? So before we start, you have an A value, you have a B value, and you have a C value. A is the number that goes with x squared.
That would be 16.
So that's 16. B is the number that goes with x.
Negative 300.
And C is my constant. Does not contain a letter. Negative 8750. Alright. Now over here I'm going to write the quadratic formula, because I imagine that some of you may have forgotten it. Negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So what you're doing right now is you are taking your values for A, B, and C, and you are simply just plugging them into the quadratic equation, and then you are stopping. Make sure when you are plugging in that you are always using what? Parentheses, yes. All right, your equation should look like mine. Does it?
That's exactly what it looks like.
That's exactly
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put the square.
8 and 16.
All right, so we have to simplify. So these two negatives out front make a what? They make a positive. So we have a positive 300 plus and minus the square root. In your calculators, I want you to type in everything that is under the radical.
What's the radical?
That's the square root sign.
And that would be 300.
Make sure you use parentheses.
Oh, we have to?
Mm-hmm. It'll mess you up if you don't.
87,
You should get a positive number, and it should be rather large.
It's in the hundreds. I did something wrong then. Oh, I did not square mine. Oh, okay.
All right, so here you, you should have 650,000 all over, what's 2 times 16?
20,
32.
32.
32. Okay. Now, you were typing in your calculator two different things. You were typing in 300 plus the square root of 650,000 over 32. But after you do that, you also have to type in 300 minus the square root of 650,000 over 32. You will get 2 decimals, and you're going to round to 1 decimal point.
Will you type it on your calculator?
The positive one should be 34.6.
I got 34.569.
I said round to 1 decimal point. What happens when you type in 300 minus all that?
15.82. 8. D2. 8.
15.8.
Negative 15.
Thank you. Negative 15.8.
Say that, then she's gonna make us watch it, count how many times she got interrupted.
All right, number 10 has 3 parts, A, B, and C. So we're going to start with A. X divided by X minus 5 minus 1 equals 6. What do we have to do first with that minus 1? What do we have to do with it?
Add it.
Add
We have to add it.
to the other side. Oh, we can cross out the X's.
Now, I have to get rid of the denominator. How do I get rid of the denominator?
Multiply
I multiply it on one side or both sides?
both sides.
Both sides. What happens to them on the left side?
They combine.
They don't combine. They cancel because one's on the top and one's on the bottom. So we are left with x equals 7x minus 35. Because I distributed to my 7.
Oh.
Okay. Now I'm solving, so I have to get x by itself. So what should I do with that 7x? Should I add it or should I subtract it?
Subtract it.
Divide
So this is a 1x minus a 7x, which is a negative 6x, which equals negative 35.
So we can do it again, can't we? Can't we divide by 6?
I'm going to divide by negative 6, yeah.
So x equals
Alright, let's go get this.
5.
What do two negatives make?
Positive.
Two negatives make a positive. So x equals 35 over
I
6.
thought 35
I don't
divided
know
by
what-
6.
Alright, b is the same thing. 8 over x plus 3 equals 2. I have to get rid of that denominator because I can't solve for x when it's in the bottom. So in order to get rid of it, I have to multiply on both sides. So I'm going to multiply 2 times x plus 3. And I'm going to multiply the entire left side also by x plus 3. On the left side, what cancels?
The
X plus
X
three.
plus 3.
The x plus 3 because I have one on the top and I have one on the bottom. So 8 equals, got to simplify the right side, 2x plus 6. Now you just have to solve for x. Subtract 6. You're left with 2 equals 2x.
Divided by 2.
So then I would say divide 2 by both sides and I get x equals 1. Alright, so when we cross multiply, we draw an arrow diagonally. And we say 4x times x minus 5 equals 12 times x minus 3.
Oh, we don't put them over each other.
No, you keep your equal sign.
So that'd be
Once you get here, all you do is you simplify. So 4x times x is
4x squared.
4x squared. 4x times a negative 5,
Negative
12 times x.
Negative 20x. Oh. I'm still writing that. No bad.
12 times x. 12x. And 12 times negative 3.
36.
Alright. Now, what kind of problem is this? Quadratic or linear?
Quadratic.
It's quadratic because it's got the square. I want to move everything to the left side.
So minus 12x,
Minus 12x and
minus 36,
not minus 36.
plus 36.
So does that whole thing just like cancel out?
What does what cancel out?
That whole right side.
It moves to the left side.
Everything moves to the left side, so yeah, it's all gone. It's just equal to 0.
Alrighty.
Hold on.
Then we can do the big X.
Alright, so if you do the quadratic formula, A, B, and C, what was it? 4x squared minus 32x plus 36. Alright, so what is A in this case? 4. What is B? And C? A, B, and C. Plug it into negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all that is over 2a. Alright, when you plug in the numbers, make sure you use what?
Parentheses.
Make sure you use parentheses. If you simplify this, you should have two negatives. On the 32s, make what kind of 32?
Positive.
A positive. The square root what's the number that goes under your radical? Go down that.
Oh, 448.
448. Everybody get 448?
What?
The number that goes
I
under
don't
your
know if
radical?
I don't know if that's right.
No.
Now, we simplify. Typing in two different things. First, we're typing in 32 plus the square root of 448 over 8. After we do that, we're typing in 32 minus the square root of 448 over 8. You should also get two decimal places. Two answers in decimals. Round to one spot. All right, so 6.6, 1.4. All right, flip over to number 13 on page 281. $13 is what we did, or what you were supposed to do last week. I hope you did it.
What's that? Oh, I did. It was hard. Man.
All right, so on A, we have 2x times x minus 1 over x squared, x minus 3 squared times x minus 3 over x minus 1. So, when you do these rational expressions, you first must simplify everything you can. Okay? So, is 2 times x the same thing as 2x?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, these right here are the same. Okay? Can I simplify x minus 1 any? No, so we're just going to bring it down. This x squared, how many x's is that really? So if I say x times x, that's the same thing as me saying x squared, right? Okay. Can I simplify x minus 3?
No.
Nope.
They have to put 2.
But I have to put it 2 times because
It's squared.
it's squared. So I have x minus 3 and I have x minus 3.
This way is so much easier.
Can I simplify the x minus 3 on the top?
No.
What about the x minus 1 on the bottom?
No. And then we just
All right. So last week, I talked about the term squish. Okay? And all that means is you put them all together. Okay? So everything on top I'm going to write on the same line. So I have 2 times x, x minus 1, and x minus 3. On the bottom, I have x times x, x minus 3, x minus 3, and x minus 1. Now, what was the last step?
To
Cross out.
Mark out, cross out the common. Okay. So, what is one common pair that you see?
X minus 1.
All right. So I heard x minus 1,
X minus 3.
x minus 3.
And then
There's one more.
2 times X.
Not 2 times x.
I don't see it. X minus 3.
I don't see it.
Just the x. Look, here's an x on the top. Here's an x on the bottom.
You
I
can
didn't
do
think you
that.
could do that.
They're
because
alike.
It's time X. It's times X.
So it's just 2 times.
So what do I have left on the top?
2.
2. What do I have left on the bottom?
An X and an X minus
2x
3.
minus 3.
An x and an x minus 3.
Hmm.
113b, we have x minus 3, 3x minus 12 times x squared minus x minus 12 over x squared minus 9. Can I simplify x minus 3?
No.
Nope. So what do I do with it?
Bring it down.
I just bring it down. Now, I cannot simplify 3x minus 12, but I can factor out what number?
3. X.
Not 3x,
4.
3.
just 3. I'm trying to get to where I started. So if I have a 3, but I want a 3x, what needs to go in my parentheses first? X, because 3 times x is 3x. And then I need a 3 times what to get negative 12? A 4, negative 4. All right, up top, I have a quadratic equation. A equals, B equals, C equals. What number goes with that x squared?
1.
What number goes with that negative x?
Negative 1.
And what number goes with C?
12. Negative 12.
Negative 12. So if we use the big X, B goes in the bottom because B and B. So we have a negative 1 in the bottom. Up top is A times C. So negative 12. So what two numbers multiply to get negative 12, but at the same time,
3.
Negative 4 and 3.
3 and negative 4. Okay? So we have a fact. Huh?
Yeah.
Some of them don't like that's hard, because I didn't think that you could factor, and it was something weird. I don't remember what it was, but it took me.
They give you a headache, make you just want to close your book.
I know, it's like a puzzle. All right, so you have x plus 3 and x minus 4. Now on the bottom, we have x squared minus 9, but something is missing. What term is missing? A, B, or C?
A. No, B.
B is missing.
So 0.
0.
So 0 goes in the bottom. And negative 9 up top.
And there's nothing right
3
there.
minus
3
3.
and negative 3. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome. All right, so my two factors,
X plus 3 and X minus 3.
x plus 3 and x minus 3. Now, when we squish, is that a mandatory step that you must do?
No, but it makes it so much easier.
For me, I don't squish because I can see it. But if you need to squish, you squish.
I just draw my line together.
Yeah. You can literally just do this.
That's what I do.
Okay? Now, I'm crossing out what's common on the top. So what is one pair that is common?
X minus 4.
All right.
X minus 3.
X minus 3.
X plus 3 and X minus 4.
You mean x minus 3? Oh, x minus 4 and x minus 3. Wow.
So what are we left with?
3.
1/3.
3.
What, Mason?
1/3.
1/3.
Shoot.
Because what number is in front of all those parentheses that we don't write? 1. Okay? And what number is left on the bottom? 3. So you're left with 1/3.
So what was the point of all that other work? Real question.
13C. This was another one from last week. So when you add and subtract fractions,
Oh my gosh, I hate it.
no matter if they have a letter or not,
13.
they have to have a common what?
Oh, baby.
They have to have a common denominator. Okay? So, C is 1 over P plus 1 minus 1 over P minus 1. Okay? When you have a problem that they have nothing in common, you have to multiply what is missing on the other side. Okay? So this right side, right here, is missing what's on the left.
But really, isn't it only missing a positive 1?
Looking at it, yes, because they both have a P. But this is an entire thing. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to multiply this side by P plus 1. Because it's missing P plus 1. But what's the left side missing? It's missing P minus 1.
So then we get 1.
So now,
2, 4,
what, when you combine fractions or whatever, you're adding and subtracting them, do you combine your numerator or do you combine your denominator? Your numerator. Your denominator stays the same. Okay? So go ahead and make your denominator P minus 1, P plus 1. Now I combine the top. P minus 1 times 1 is just P minus 1. Now I have to distribute this negative 1 to P. So a negative 1 times a positive P is a negative P. And a negative 1 times a positive 1 is a negative 1. Okay? Once again, we only combine the top. So P, right here, and this P, what happens to them? They cancel.
I can't see through.
So you got 1 over P.
So then I have a,
1
How
over
does that
the
cancel
denominator.
though? Because it's negative P and positive P.
well, positive P minus a P,
I got you.
they cancel. So then you have a negative 1
And that's negative
minus
2.
another 1 is a negative 2.
That doesn't make sense though, because you distributed it.
On B, 19B,
You writing or not?
huh?
You want to write?
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do.
Can I go see the charges?
Yes. All right, so we have 1 over.
Can I go with him? I
No,
know
you,
that-
have you got the paperwork filled out?
Yeah, I've already filled it after baseball.
19B, you have 1 over T minus 3 plus 1 over T plus 3 equals 6 over T squared minus 9. Now, can you combine those first two fractions?
No, they don't have a common denominator.
No, they don't have a common denominator. Okay?
So would you multiply it to each side or?
Yep. You're going to multiply your denominators on both sides. Okay? So what it would look like Alright, equals. You have to do it on both sides. Don't have enough room.
Is some of these right here were on the homework?
Yes.
Wait, whoa. You just erased one.
I just rewrote it. Alright, so once you get right here. Alright, so now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to break it up. This is the same thing we did in the first problem that we did today.
You've already wrote that, right? Or do we need to write
This,
that? Yeah.
no, I hadn't wrote this part. I'm just breaking it up from what we had, written down. It's the same thing, I'm just breaking it. This is where you'll cross out stuff. Alright, on the first section, on the left side, what can I cross out? What's on the top and the bottom? Just on this side.
T minus 3.
T minus 3. And my ones. What about the left side? Or the right side, sorry.
What you put over what? Is that over X?
No, that's over 1. We just crossed,
Oh, I got you.
we just crossed them out. What do I cross out on the right side?
T plus 3.
T plus 3. And I can also cross out those ones. So now, what am I left with?
T plus 3 plus T plus 3.
Minus
T plus 3.
Plus 3 minus it.
Now, we haven't done the right side yet. But the right side looked like... What happens to the entire denominator and the numerator on the left?
What's it say?
Oh, y'all can't see that.